Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Danae, and I'm here with a message for you. Happy Monday, back at it again. I posted an impromptu message yesterday, and oddly enough, the video cut off at quite an auspicious point. Thankfully, I had at least finished my thought before it cut off, but I definitely wasn't finished the reading, at least not by my standards. So if you haven't checked it out, please do, and forgive however spirit decided to wrap it up toward the end, which in timing perspective was fine, even in the ending of what I was saying and the length of the message as it was already. But I know that I had more to express. I probably was on my way to closing it out anyway, honestly. But anyway, we're going to leave that energy for yesterday on Sunday. I guess my surprise message was also a surprise to Spirit, and it's a surprise to you, however you get to receive it or engage with it. But we will certainly leave Sunday for Sunday and indulge in this energy for today, being Monday, December 18th. So I hope you had a wonderful weekend and you're energized and revved up for this week. Definitely gonna be, I don't know, I foresee it being an interesting one, but I hope in good ways for you, as it's the last week for Christmas shopping or holiday shopping or whatever you do during this time of year. We're almost at winter solstice, right around the corner. So changes are all underway between the Mercury retrograde that we're currently in, which will be switching gears on December 23rd into Sagittarius right before Christmas, and then that being right after, or that being the winter solstice. As a matter of fact, it's either the 22nd or the 23rd, I can't remember. And then we have a full moon coming up on the 26th, the day after Christmas, and Neptune squaring the retrograde, and on and on and on the 27th, and on and on and on. And then again, still through in retrograde in Sagittarius through the 1st. So govern yourselves accordingly, because that's a whole lot of energy happening in the ethers that we undoubtedly do experience and express in the physical. So with that being said, let's see where we are today. 3 of Pentacles, interesting. This is some teamwork, collaborative effort, could literally be work, a group project, maybe even in school or on the job, a professional collaboration maybe, or creative collaboration. It could be of a bright nature, or it could be a darker nature. You never know with the 3 of Pentacles, quite honestly, for me, because sometimes it comes up as some secretive efforts of collaboration or even collusion, but in the highest vibration, it's definitely a depiction of creative collaboration, let's just say, or something. Also, it could be something being drawn to a close attention, because I always see these two here, like shining a light on some documents and re-examining some paperwork perhaps. So again, it could be in the workplace. This also represents higher education, so it could literally be school. I think people are pretty much wrapped up, I would think, in terms of college at this point in time. Like higher education should be about on break soon, if not already. But maybe not. Maybe you're wrapping up some loose ends, perhaps. I don't know. That would be a bit strange for me. And I went to Drexel, where we had really weird breaks, and we went to school late and stayed in late, and on and on and on. But yeah, it could be a collaborative effort for higher education in this, maybe not in the most traditional or conventional sense, but maybe you're learning something new, which wouldn't be off off trend right now, given the season that we're in, through Mercury retrograde in Capricorn, about to go into Sagittarius, which is the sign, and we're already in the sign of, you know, in the sign of Sagittarius now. It's Sagittarius season, which is that of higher learning and knowledge and being ambitious about expanding your mind's eye, more or less. So let's just see where we go with this, because I don't know. It could be so many different things when we start with that first card. So let's see, but we'll remember that the Three of Pentacles was our leading energy. Okay. I actually watched an amazing live yesterday, speaking of higher education, and I may post it. Okay, we got the King of Wands, I'm gonna say King of Swords, and the Page of Swords, actually. So King of Swords, Page of Swords. I may post it on the community tab. I try not to post for many different reasons. I don't usually jump out the window reposting other messengers and readers, to be completely transparent, because I feel like outside energies don't just look to interfere with me. Sometimes they target those that they feel that I'm engaged with or that I'm tuned in or tapped into. So I'm really trying to protect other people that I value in the spiritual community. But lately I've been more inclined to share more of the information that I feel is important. And a lot of times I share it because it resonates with either something that I've said or with what I already have kind of downloaded or uploaded in some type of way. And so it's intriguing to me to see how the community is kind of like resonating on one synergy right now. But I watched this live by Isis Wisdom yesterday, and it's a pretty long live that I didn't even mean to hang in there with, but it was so interesting. She had two of her cosmic sons on the live as well, and they were doing most of the talking. It really wasn't her, and they were young guys, tapped in, very creatively conscious and super creatively conscious, dare I say, and they were just giving such profound information of the spiritual nature regarding history, regarding the present and our presence, and even projections moving forward. And so much of it was so in alignment with the things that I've been downloaded through the readings, through Sacred Soul Sessions, formerly known as Sunday School Session, when I, did the messages without the cards, things that have been downloaded to me just casually, that a lot of times I don't have the full grasp of, or don't even sometimes know the depth of what I'm picking up. A lot of what they had to share just made so much sense. So, I probably will just post it as an FYI. You can get into it. I guarantee you, once you start it, you probably won't be able to stop. And you may even hear some familiar concepts that I've touched on in some way, shape, or form, and it being more expansive and more concrete by the way that they express it. So it's interesting, man. It's quite interesting, the flow of information and knowledge and truth that is out there right now. You just got to tap into it, or be open for it to tap into you. All right, so we got this Three of Pentacles out again. And shoot, oh, it was the Page of Swords. It was the Page of Swords. So Three of Pentacles is out again, so we don't have to even remember that it was here. And the Page of Swords was out with the King of Wands. So the King of Wands is either being watched or watching. Now, given he looks a little pensive here, maybe he's keeping his eye on something with that Page of Wands. I'm sorry, with that Page of Swords. And then we got the Three of Pentacles and the Ten of Cups here. So some collaborative effort for a happy ending. Or a happy beginning. Maybe one and the same, a happy ending and a happy beginning. With the Empress card, which is definitely an expression of fertility, creativity, life, supreme feminine energy. And now with the Lovers card, okay. Then we got the Seven of Cups, and then we got the Magician. Let's see what else. So much mixed energy here. Celebration, somebody stuck, somebody confused, somebody's manifesting, somebody's partying, or somebody's leaving the party, somebody's indecisive. There's that again. Okay, what is this about? And what's this? One more energy. Justice in the midst of it all. So there's a lot going on. Pretty much is what you're telling me, Spirit. There's a lot going on. Because we got, let's see. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Okay. And then we got that. Okay. So I just heard like end of the year wrap up. That's what I hear. Like this is the culmination and closure of not just the end of the year, but particularly a very long and arduous life cycle is what I'm feeling. It's not simply just, oh, you know, we're getting prepared for the new year. We're getting prepared for a new life, a new awakening, a new expression of our inner being, our supreme being. With the Empress card here, literally a higher expression of self out of the fog, manifesting without resistance and without, with clarity, I would say. With the Justice card, it being solidified in spirit and in truth. You know, to have access to certain energies and yeah, with the King of Wands leading, it's about power and creativity, but an unlimited source and force of such. And the wrap up is so because not only are we bringing to close some of the conflicts, confusions, and maybe even resistances in our own being, it's happening for us as well from the outside in, you know, from the inside out and the outside in. So we're intentional about how consciously we can filter our frequencies for a higher optimization. With the King of Wands here, maybe, like I said, maybe even tapping into some new information, some new education, some higher level wisdom that you know, things that I was some of the concepts that were expressed in the Isis Wisdom live were familiar in essence because my spirit has tapped into them, but you know, how can I say it, like the breakdown of it all, you know, the real, how can I say it, like how it all makes sense, you know, how that live made sense of what I've been feeling to some degree, made me feel like I was almost learning something new myself, you know, in that moment. It was like, oh, okay, all right, so this is what I was thinking, or this is what I was picking up on when I was hearing that, or when I said this. And it's like, it's given even more expansive, yeah, like expanding our horizons of creativity with this Rainbow card and the Ten of Cups. So it's not just an expansion of the sensational expressions of the quality of life, you know, that we say with the Ten of Cups card, like wish fulfillment, happily ever after, happy wife, happy life, legacy, love, and on and on and on, is something even more deep than that, and perhaps even more expansive beyond the realm, literally beyond the realm of our contempt to some degree, that we are about to embark upon or have access to, talking like dimensionally, you know, when we're talking in terms of wisdom and truth. Like, and I did kind of speak on this I did yesterday. That's probably another reason why the video got cut off, because I was talking about sacred knowledge and about how we're being called into, you know, like the library of sorts to access that information. And that kind of is what that card gives me, like old buildings with the arches and, you know, those old architectural jewels of buildings that, you know, are relics to some degree and landmarks in their own right. And a lot of times you'll see a library look like that, or a bank, and get into it like we're tapping into a wealth of knowledge that, first of all, is limitless and infinite, but that has been well secured, like considered as like bank type of vibes with this Three of Pentacles. It's like been vaulted, first of all, from external interference, and in some ways been vaulted and interfered with by adverse energies to keep it from being divulged to whom it should actually whom it should actually be safe with and expressed by. But also even us kind of surrendering or submitting to the conditioning of our own creative consciousness that would kind of keep us distant from that access. It's like being outside of a big ass library, but you don't have a library card, you know, or at least you don't think you do. Little did you know your DNA was the library card, but you didn't know that because all this time you were told that you could only access this facility and all of this great knowledge if you had this card to allow you to do so, you know. So I talked about that a little bit yesterday. Yesterday's message was kind of weird. I haven't even watched it back, but it was kind of strange. But I know there's something there, or at least I was headed in the right direction, because I posted that and then I saw the video, the live late last night, where, like I said, I didn't even think that I was going to stay up to watch it because it was so long and it was already so late, and my eyes were like peeled, you know, like big, glued to the freaking screen, watching these young dudes just kind of like spew wisdom out like water, you know, like pour it out like the Ace of Cups. It was amazing. It was amazing to watch, to listen to be affirmed and confirmed by, to see our future, because they were 22 years old, the two of them, to see our future. And Isis is a little bit older than me, so kind of almost to see an elder or mentor of sorts that is bridging the gap and allowing young people to shine in the way that they do best. Like the whole expression of the live was just empowering for me, beyond just the core of the information itself, the entire experience. And I feel like that's the energy that we're walking into, that it's the 10 of Cups here for a reason, because it's not so tangible. It is, and it shall be. But the focus of our focal point right now, because even the Three of Pentacles is tangible, right? That's actually money or material. But it even pales in comparison in quantity to this great wealth of spiritual affluence that we have, you know, to tap into or have at our disposal with, or have available to us. I wouldn't say at our disposal, but that's available to us with the 10 of Cups. It's like you can literally dive in as deep as you would like to, or soar as high as you're willing to, and you'll never get to the root or the height of your spiritual intelligence, so it seems, you know. And for a Sagittarius, that's kind of like that's kind of like a dream in itself, to just be swimming in this endless pool of useful information, you know, of sacred information, of philosophical substance, you know. Not just philosophical, because sometimes that can get a bad rap, that it's just kind of fluff, in some way, shape, or form, but the philosophy of our physical realm in a spiritual sense, if that makes sense, you know. But anyway, so that's where we are. I won't even say where we're headed. Like, that's the present moment right now. And there's still so much contention with how that gets to be, because it's like it's already done here at the beginning with the Empress, the choice to be in the position of autonomy and security and, pardon me, intentionality with your power and your fertility was the precursor that helped to dissipate some of the internal fog. And now what has been what's devotion has happened in regards to that is now almost calling in or magnetizing that experience on a cosmic level. Hence why, you know, the mirror aspect of Neptune now being direct in Pisces, and that fog clearing away so that we can really see reality for what it is, and be able to and be incited to do our best with it. You know, whatever your brand of magic may be, 10 people could probably watch that live 10 different times and walk away with some incitement that is completely different from one another, or absorbing some information that propels them forward in one way than the other person, you know. And that's the beauty of this life existence that we are in, the time, you know, such a great time to be alive, where the veil is repealed and pulled back and perhaps completely disintegrated, or if not yet on its way. And this is the access that we have, that it never was meant to, it never needed to be contained for the purposes of spirit's expression in the realm. That was an external force, more or less, that worked for our good as we learned to evolve and kind of rise to the occasion of our own creation or creativity. So everything works for our good, but now it's like the timing, the justice of it all for this restriction of us not seeing and not knowing and not feeling confident in our own enlightenment, as in with the Hangman card here, feeling stuck and stagnant, waiting for someone to come and save us, waiting to be ushered into some new experience of life, waiting for someone to tell you when it's okay to celebrate. You know, it's like now is the time. You know, as soon as you say that it is the time, and waiting for someone to tell you, you know, what's a good offer to take, or waiting for an offer in general, you know, and amidst all the conflict and confusion of the Five of Wands, where everybody's fighting over what seems to be a very little for a lot to go around, very little to go around for a lot, if that makes sense. And it's like the resistance of that ideal now is on the other end of this, like we're really coming to the crossroads of where exactly you're going to align back at the beginning, in this new beginning of time. Will you stay in this position of indecision and distrust with yourself at the Two of Wands, at the Two of Swords, now knowing all that you know and all that's being revealed, having it all like spread out for you on a silver platter, more or less, intellectually, spiritually, you know, even physically, materially, so having the evidence perhaps even right before your eyes? Will you refuse to see it and refuse to ingest it as truth, and refuse to act or respond to it, act upon it or respond to it? Now that decision is up to you. It literally is in the power of your hands, masculine or feminine. You know, in this regard, it's feminine as to what you'll receive and then allow to be made manifest in your being. Literally the fertility of the divine feminine as it's expressed in the Empress, where she has infinite ability to create and procreate and reproduce, you know, and whatever it is whatever seed is implanted is ultimately what, well, I can't even say that, because in the highest form of the Empress, the divine feminine can take a seed and almost transform it, you know, like infuse it with an elevated expression of life force than what was initially inseminated, you know. So there is that, but it's still all on account of the matter of her choice and willingness to do so. So you could have an empress vibrating at an extremely high level that could take a low level seed and turn that thing around into something supreme, or you can have the same makeup of a woman, so to speak, that's not devoted to her divine nature or her supreme self, or operating in the highest aspect of her integrity, that will take a seed and it will produce, it will materialize, but at what level, at what quality, you know. There's a whole lot of that disparity going on around here, and it doesn't mean the seed doesn't have a chance to evolve once it's here in the realm, but certainly if you really think about it, you know, the evidence there's sure evidence for the nurturing of a seed within the woman's womb and its deliverance, so to speak, in that regard. You know, how well nurtured, how well taken care of, which is why we have prenatal care in the first place, right? To nurture that seed before it even is delivered into this realm, you know, because that's where the life force begins. So in a practical sense, it's not simply about having babies, but it's about the information that we're all more or less being inseminated with, maybe even the power with the King of Wands that we're being infused by, and it being something of a new creation, at least to our consciousness to some degree. Maybe not so, you know, depending on what life cycle or lifetime you're on here, but at least to the creative consciousness that is present in this realm now. To a lot of us, the experience of power and creativity and inspiration and force that we are embodying or are about to embody or realize that we're embodying is beyond what we've ever, you know, experienced before. And it's quite honestly even beyond limitations, as I said, with the Empress, who's infinitely fertile. You could do a great deal with it, but like I said, you could be constructive or destructive, or just you know, just not well productive in general, or indifferent to the process of productivity in some regard, where you just kind of let it be what it's going to be, which, you know, there's a place and a time for that. But I think the point that I'm trying to get to is us being ready as fertile beings, because yesterday the title of my message was actually surrogates of source, you know. So us being ready and primed, you know, as fertile beings now at this point is more so about to almost deliver what we've been hosting and what we've been cultivating and producing in our bodies, in our physical bodies, for God only knows how long, quite honestly. Who even really can say? Consciously, probably for maybe at least the past 3 years, intensely, gradually intensely, but that we've been prepping for at least the past 10 years, depending on where you are and when you were born and, you know, the elements in your chart. But consciously and collectively, for sure, within the past 3 years or so, that we've been preparing, like almost like an elephant pregnancy. You know how elephants, I think they're pregnant for like 3 years. You know what I mean? It's been that type of what do you call it? Maternity experience, maternal experience here, where we've been holding something in our vessel and our body's been catching up to the evolution of our spirits. And now everything is coming online, like the higher learning, the, you know, the expansive expression is coming online at once. And like I said, some people are primed and ready and prepared to do their absolute best with it, and some people are going to be juggling like, what the hell is this, what's going on? And of course you may or may not have some of those that that fumble the bag or fumble the ball, or fumble the power to some degree and falter on account of their lack of preparedness or fear, you know, creeping back in, which we're all susceptible to, you know, making you feel like you're weird or you shouldn't be privy to such a sort of force or power, or, you know, maybe it's all in your imagination or whatever, like hella projections on the horizon, but we're piercing through that resistance now, whether you know it or not, so that this transition, when it fully is materialized, is much more successful than not. You know, especially those that have been kind of on the lookout for change in a certain way that you just didn't know how it was getting to be. Well, surprise, you're about to be powerful beyond measure. Yep, here we go. Look at this, powerful beyond measure. Victory and success, sitting in the highest position of power, of authority, you know, of your creativity and your with the Sun card here. And remember, I said this management is the difference between struggling and juggling. So some people are going to be managing it well, and some people are going to be like, oh, whoa, what is this? And hopefully, you know, there's grace enough for us all that those are. And if you have received the download, the upgrade, the vibes in one way, shape, or another, then hopefully you're grounded enough in grace to receive stabilization with the integration, however that gets to be, or that we may be able to help each other along the way in some type of way, you know, or people are willing to be helped along the way. But, you know, that's still a matter of choice as well, you know, and the temperance of ambition with the King of Wands. That's one of the most powerful kings in the deck, next to, only paling in comparison really to the Emperor, and to some degree, because we consider the Emperor as all four kings in one, right? But the King of Wands is creativity, is life force, is boldness and courage and ambition and drive and uninhibited power to some degree, you know? So it's like, consider having all of that energy perhaps evoked within you in a way that is surprising to you, or maybe sudden even to some degree, because maybe you weren't necessarily on the lookout for it, but you're getting it anyway because you're in alignment for it. And then having to actually be responsible, as the Emperor is, with how that gets to be expressed and wielded and withheld. Sometimes there's a call for that as well. Like, you can't just go around just impressing your power on anyone and anything. That's what tyrants are made of, which we had a lot of those in this past life season, which is why the world looks a lot like it does as is. You know, people abusing their power and their life force and monopolizing the energetic field in the realm and impressing certain interferences on others with it, just taking liberties that they weren't, you know, they weren't really in the jurisdiction to take, you know, or weren't justified, again, to take, with that Justice card that came up. But this is like, and is with Spirit here, is like doubling down that it's of a spiritual essence, most pronounced with the Ten of Cups and the Queen of Cups here, that there's a reception of spiritual flow, energy, intel, intelligence of a higher grade, a higher magnitude than what can even be measured truly, you know, because we can say the Ten of Cups, but consider the rainbow and the implication of that force. You kind of never really quite know where it begins and where it ends. And really, as far as I've learned, it's a sphere. You know, there is no end, as far as I know, that it's actually a circle that, you know, appears to have an end and a beginning. Don't know if that's 100% true, but I feel like I've read that somewhere. And that's the energy that we're walking into now. It's eternal. Here it is. It gotta be, because of how this is confirming. this infinity sign here is like an infinite flow of energy that shall materialize, that does materialize. It's not just exclusively spiritual anymore, because that's the point of this evolving state of being, right? That a lot of us have idealized this concept of an intangible force, universal power, God, angelic realms, you know, ancestors, ancestral realms, and power beyond, you know, the unseen, the unknown, like all of that, and all of that intel, or I don't even know what to call it, like whatever it is, you know, quite honestly, or whatever any of it is now being exposed more in a pure form for us to engage with, and perhaps even be a conduit and expression of, really and truly, you know. So where it is we toyed with the idea of something beyond us and the unknown and, you know, bigger than us, it's like, it's like, how can I say this? You know, it's like how she's walking into this powerful force. Now, she seems to be, or he, because this is actually a he by definition, but I always see it as a she. And then with the Queen of Cups on the other end, it's just like, it is what it is. But consider like two different expressions of humanity, with a woman here, or just even in age or whatever. It's like a disparity here between what was once expected for us to embody or engage with, even express, and now, you know, a different assertion of expectation or entitlement, dare I even say, with the Emperor, because he would be pretty well entitled to the power that he wields, right, in the position that he's in. And it's like a clash of the titans in a harmonious way when we're talking about our spirit nature and our natural nature. It's a clash in a way that now either reintroduces us to our supreme selves, or re-engages us, or freshly introduces altogether your physical being with your supreme or spiritual nature, and brings everything into one harmonious balance of autonomy. Dare I even say, I wanted to say supremacy, but it's really sovereignty is what it is. That's the point. For you to be a sovereign power and force within your own being, and responsibly so, you know, learning how to manage what that gets to look like in a physical, material way, because that's something that we haven't had to do before. You know, as I said, it was the concept, it was the happenstance, by chance, you know, accidental miracles, and, you know, coincidences, so to speak, and like, oh, didn't know I could do that type of vibe, to now knowing like what power you truly possess, what impact and impression it can make, you know, just, you know, really seeing the magnitude of your force. And this could be in a fantastical way, or it could be even in the most practical ways, like really seeing the impact of your gifts and talents per se, you know, that you may even take for granted, or like I said, happenstance or matter of fact type of energy toward it. Your singing, your writing, your teaching, your dancing, your acting, your even your communication skills, your writing, your engagement with others, like the things about our nature that we feel are just, you know, no big deal. Now seeing exactly how much of an impression every skill that you possess makes on the world that you're creating in real time, and on others that are in alignment or in proximity to be impressed by it. And I don't mean impressed by like, you know, like dazzled by it. I mean literally to be that we make an impression of life force on one another with the energy that we express. And it's very important and very vital, as a matter of fact, as I said, that we help each other. And a lot of times, well, we've been conditioned to impress the worst upon each other because the worst has been impressed upon us. And it's like reversing that energy to actually see how much of a difference and an impact we make in a positive way onto one another, so that we can keep on doing that thing and, you know, do it, push it to the limit, as a matter of fact, as if there is one, you know. And in the light of the sun, with the best intentions, you'll have all the help that you need to manage your expectations, your misunderstandings perhaps at first, or understandings of yourself, and the expulsion, if that's the word, like the expelling of the energy, you know, kind of like, you know, waving your magic wand for the first time in your life, and it's like, whoa, you know what I mean? Like, wow, I didn't know that I could do that type of thing. And now, what's this? World card. Yeah, because it's that energy, like a new world order. You know, this is the sun shining on life in a new way, because it's shining through us in a new way, in a more fresh way and more brilliant way than we've ever been. What's the word? Like, is it opaque? Not opaque, but like opulent to shine before. You know, I feel like opulent is the word, like being able to kind of like emit a light from the inside, whereas opaque is probably what we were before. It was kind of hard for, because of the dense energies we were conditioned by and were ultimately subscribing and surrendering ourselves to. It was hard for this energy to really pierce through that density, but now our spirits are being lightened, like with the world card. We've been elevated, we're being ascended in spirit and in truth. Our minds are lighter because our vision is more clear, our understanding is more in depth and more elevated. So now it just makes us prime for crystallization of powers that were always willing and able to project through us. They just needed the proper lens, you know, so to speak. If this is making sense, I guess it is to somebody. Ace of Swords, like I feel like I'm talking in tongues, I'm speaking in tongues right now. It's kind of weird. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, a few more and then we out of here. Well, I'm out of here. You can do what you want. Let's see. All right, we got the Page of Cups. All right. That's a new message. Let's see. I thought something else turned over. Get ready to get ready. Ooh, I hear that. Get ready, because here I come. With the Lover's card that tried to pop out. That's that higher version of you getting ready to touch down and make contact. You've been looking out for aliens, and the alien all this time was you. Foreign to your own supremacy. I guess supremacy was the word then, when I'm always talking about supreme, right? Yeah, look at this. Look at this. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. And that's perfect to end, because that's what I needed. 3 cards. Look at this. Like, here's the supremacy. So it's like, and here's the inflow. I was seeing this card today in my mind's eye, so I'm not surprised that it's here. And here's the materialization. And it's like, here's the small order, right? Maybe that you even had the expectation for. What's this? Just to see. Yeah, here is this. The battle of the minds. You know what I mean? Perhaps your own internal conflicts with just being open to receiving this truth, let alone the materialization of it. Because it's one thing to be told something is what it is. It's another thing to begin to experience, or that it's possible even. You know, it's one thing to read about it or to conceptualize it intellectually, and then it's a whole nother thing to feel the energy and the vibration. you know, for the spirit integration to actually prove itself in a material form through the energetic force that you experience. Like energy, you can't deny energy, you know. Sometimes we don't know how to put a finger on the definition of that vibration in our being, but ultimately you can't deny the frequency, you know. And then here's the evidence for however that gets to manifest through you, you know. Here is the elevated position of responsibility. This is the reception, right? Being in that feminine energy to receive that spiritual upgrade. This is almost like the reproduction of it with the Page of Cups. Like, now, okay, what do I make of this? How do I define it? How do I determine, you know, its importance? Discern like what value it has, or what it's assigned to, you know what I mean? What's the right word? Like, I think value is probably the best thing in terms of the cups. Like, but it's more than value. It's like what, I don't know. It's something else though, like of a discernment of like position of sorts or something. I don't know, maybe it'll come to me. But there is a transitional moment between the reception and then the reproduction, and then the reception and then the productivity of it. You know, the literally to be the one to disseminate the intel or the influx of integration that's been embodied. This is like the embodiment of it. And it looks like a page in this regard because, as I've said, for some of us, it's something that we've never engaged before, or it just feels strange, you know, to have heard about it, or even to be in a mature state to receive it in such a way. But to integrate it is a totally different thing, you know, to actually put it into use. Like, the oil itself it's one thing to pour the oil in from, you know, under the hood. It's another thing for it to work its way through the gears and the mechanism of the car, so to speak. And that's the evolution here with the King of Cups now being in the position to be proactive with the force that's embodied. And here's the spirit, here is the projection of him in the earth realm with the Eight of Wands now being magnified. And also the spiritual co-creativity, as I said before, you being submissive to this experience, for this integration, to be online for the enlightenment, however it gets to express itself through you, is what makes you an open vessel or the conduit itself. And then ultimately the conductor in some way, because the materialization of it here with the Ace of Pentacles now puts you in charge as the Emperor would be, and how this seed of divine ordinance now gets to be sown, multiplied, and magnified in a very material way. So again, it's not just spiritual, it's not just energetic, it is very material. And I love how we ended with it being a material expression and gift of the greatest magnitude, you know, an infinite indication in itself with no limitation, quite honestly, you know, because when it's coming from spirit or supported by spirit, there's no cap on it. It literally comes down to how devoted and determined you are to multiply it. You know, so it could be a business that grows exponentially. It could be an inspiration for an idea, an invention. It could be a relationship itself and the expansion of a love legacy in your family, a continuance of a generational lifeline or generational wealth that gets to be reinvested and magnified, you know, for generations to come, to continue on this expansion of a love legacy where you don't have to worry about the material sustenance and stability. When that's well taken care of, that frees up the spirit, the mind, the body, the entire being to be activated in a way that is unlimited otherwise. You know, that's what actually helps. That's what we've had, the densities that we've had to work through, kind of like shaving the learning curve to some degree for generations to come, because we have been so fixated on our stability, security, and mortality overall, not just by probably not at all by natural design, but more so by unnatural and diabolical interference. Literally, the interference of this spirit of competition and chaos and confusion here, where there's just never enough, you know? So us having pushed through, this is the energy of having pushed through that density at the Five of Wands, now at the Six of Wands, to affirm a position of autonomy and supreme power and sovereignty in some range of expression. It may not all look alike for all of us, but maybe even just overcoming the spirit of poverty, or it could be a small win that puts you in a position to, it puts you in a strong position. You know, it doesn't mean that you necessarily dominated your entire life, every obstacle that ever came your way. Maybe you did, but maybe you haven't. And it was just one generational cycle that you overcame that puts you in the perfect position to be a conduit, or dare I say again, surrogate for source, in the way that it's been dying to be birthed and reborn in this realm, probably for lifetimes at this point. And now here you are, the lucky carrier. Literally the lucky carrier with the Ace of Pentacles here. This is the deliverance of that seed, that spiritual seed in a material form. Congratulations, you're amazing. Spiritual nature here, right here, where it's like, this is the point of victory here. Like, this was the turning point, so to speak, the rendering of self to position your being for this integration and for this upgrade and this evolution of sorts, really to be prepared for it. Because everybody, like I said, the frequency cannot be denied. It's happening. The World card popped out here. It's not like some people are getting it and some people are not. It's not that. It's that everybody, the entire globe, is going to feel the shift. But it was your preparation for that reception that matters most, you know. And that preparation came by way of that array of cards that came out first. When I first started, a lot of that energy was in there, but ultimately it came down to you being willing and submissive to the higher powers. This is the presence of ancestors, way showers, guides, but just a force that was navigating your path through you, like your internal compass that was very intangible for the most part, sometimes even very inaudible. It guided through a frequency, and sometimes because of the densities that we were all susceptible to, it was hard to even really decipher what you were hearing or feeling to take the directive that was given. But because of the devotion to be in alignment with that correspondence, that communication, you know, that exchange is ultimately what kind of, like, how can I say it, with what this was the process that ultimately, first of all, protected you from falling victim to this energy here, these densities that wanted to straight up take your life. But that also helped to guide your way, navigate you through the muck and the mire of just being human in this 3D realm, to be guided in a way that was unconventional, that was sometimes unsensational, inaudible, invisible, you know, intangible. But your willingness to follow that path based, you know, strictly off of the incitement of the frequency is what, little unbeknownst to you, grounded you for this upgrade, or this you know, this what do I call it, like this deliverance of sorts that's happening now, all of which I've been already talking about. But this is like taking it back to square one, that this is where you proved yourself worthy. You know, you prove not just so worthy, but because you've always been worthy. That's part of the muck and the mire too. Even as I'm saying it, you proved yourself willing. You know, it was the will, the strength in you, the determination, the persistence to push through. Like I said, it could have been one generational cycle that was a resistance to your forward motion, or you get into a place where you could hear even more naturally, you know, perhaps still the inaudible, but here you were clearing channels, pretty much is what I'm ultimately trying to say. You were clearing the way for yourself to be the conduit that you were being called to be. It was very much co-creative, because although there was directive from supreme sources, from supreme source itself disseminated through different channels, you still had to be open to receive and willing to conceive, literally to conceive of whatever that exchange would be. You know, so I hope I'm beating it down enough, but ultimately I'm just trying to reassure you that amidst all of the intensity that may already be experienced in the realm, or that may come as a surprise, maybe even a shock to the senses to some degree before, you know, it's almost like the impact, and then it kind of like it'll dissipate a little bit in the materialization of like, oh, that's what, you know what I mean? Like, this is the impact that we're experiencing, even with the transit of the retrograde and the square and this and that, and, you know, different things that are who knows what the full moon is finna do. You know, you may even feel impacted left and right to some degree right now, but rest assured that you've been through worse and less of a consciousness. You know, you've been through far worse, if in fact you do feel a bit of a pressure, and know that ultimately it's just a setup for your experience that is really going to like ascend you above the fray, to really never have to contend with this density again unless you choose to, you know? So I feel like I said all around about to say pretty much just like, you know, stay focused and hang in there. You know, you're doing great type of thing. I think that's what the play was. Like, yeah, wish fulfillment on the way, like literally on the way with the Nine of Cups here. You're going to be well satisfied with your, I mean, it's like the evidence here with the Hermit card is that you followed a voice, you followed a calling, a directive amidst, I mean, it was pretty much a miracle in itself that you were able to hear over the white noise of this realm, to be guided in such a way that would render you sacredly so to receive this experience in a way that doesn't overload you. Like I said, everybody's getting it, but those that are prepared to receive it and actually, you know, turn it over in a productive and prosperous way to make good on it as the Ace of Pentacles, and not see it as like, you know, a 5, you know, like despair and trauma, or even the 2 where you don't know quite in the lower vibration where you don't know what to do with it. I'm speaking to the highest vibration of those that know exactly what to do with the fortune that they're already in reception of. You know, like, you already know exactly, because you've been listening and following the path all this time. It's not like, you know, it's been very intentional, your motivation of materialization even up until now, you know, like which is the reason why you're a prime conduit of the force and the fortune in the first place, because you've already been cultivating the experience of manifestation by way of the things that you've been envisioning to do, the people you want to help, the businesses you want to create, the properties you want to designate for certain things, the legacy you want to lead, the way of family that you want to cultivate. You know, like, these are the things within you, having pushed through some quite dense energies, maybe even generational cycles, i.e. curses, that would be a resistance to that intention and that visualization, you know, that was a pressure and a great feat in itself, and you did it. You know, you could have gotten distracted along the way many times over in this energy here to be competitive and feel like you had something to prove, competitive with your own self and your primal nature, feeling, you know, obstinate to the spirit of scarcity and survival, and, you know, even feeling tempted to take shortcuts or make certain concessions in ways that would be a detriment or a casualty to others. Like, all of that stuff was coming at you the whole time. It was a spirit saying, no, 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 stay this way, stay the course, you know. But like I said, it was almost impossible to hear. Amidst all that I just said, imagine just one little light that you had to follow out the, you know, to the end of the tunnel, and you actually did it. You actually did it with the Six of Wands here. Followed it right on out to your destiny. And you're still following it. You not only have you proven your devotion amidst a great dense world, and in the midst of a great dense world, you've proven your dedication to continue on in that path, because there's probably a heightened expression of that now with these last ditch efforts to avert your attention otherwise, to make you feel like your successes are not as big as they have been. Like I said, that the impact that you've made on the world is minuscule, when as a matter of fact, it's major, you know? So now you're still staying focused, you're still staying devoted, you're still on the grind and on the path, and maybe even more so, submitting to rest where need be, which is hard to do in itself, to know when it's actually time to just take your hand off the wheel and chill, you know, and let spirit guide the way. All of that counts, all of that matters, and it's exactly what is helping you to materialize as the gift that you are to the universe, so that you can see it. The materialization in the tangible form is so that you can actually see, have measurement finally, not just an idealization or a fantasy or a good thought of exactly how precious you are, but actually see it, touch it, taste it, smell it, love it, you know, I don't know, hear it, you know, every aspect of sensation, us being the human beings that we are, now projecting and reflecting to you exactly how invaluable you are to the divine in real time, in 3D and beyond, you know, because that realization in the material way, in the material sense, is ultimately what's going to propel us, I would say, forward to now access our identity beyond even the dimensions that we know of to reach for, you know. So it's just the beginning, quite honestly, you know, for you to see it and believe it now, and now be incited to believe for even more and beyond what you can materialize, you know, because there is so much more to believe for. Hope that makes sense. I really do. I really do. I think it's unfolding. I feel like these readings may become a little bit interesting, you know, from now throughout the rest of the year, or maybe now throughout forever. I don't know. Right now, like I said, I still feel like I'm speaking in tongues a little bit, even unto myself, because what I'm feeling, I'm not necessarily able to grasp the words for, and that could be due to Mercury retrograde as well, that things are going to crystallize more and more as we're pushing through to that other side. So hang in there with me, let it minister to your spirit and speak to your soul however it resonates. Surely leave the rest as it doesn't, but definitely walk with me on this one, because I think we're headed to some rainbow effect. You know, I was about to say ending, but it's not an ending. It's just a rainbow effect, or a rainbow realm, so to speak. Yeah, that's what it is. We're headed there in spirit and in truth, hopefully together, or I'll meet you there, one or the other. But if you're here with me, that's where I'm going. So if you're down for the journey, just hang on for the ride. guess. All right, so anyway, that's all I have for today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. As always, until next time, I leave you with peace.